everyone, it's Sunday, November 1st, time for another HideNet Week in Review. I'm Vera Dordick. So it was a mixed scenario across the globe this week. European nations are looking at some new and stringent restrictions because of the spike in coronavirus infections. Elsewhere, like in the United States, prices were higher again for steers. In fact, in the U.S., offers were still pretty slim for the week, although it didn't seem to hurt sales because some packers said it was still a pretty good week. Interest was said to be good as well, and that's despite rising steer prices, which they did again this week. Heavy Texas steers were a bit of an exception, not because prices were lower, but because there are few available in the market. So this leaves regular weight selections averaging 62, 64 pounds steady with the previous week, selling for $27 at the high end. That said, sellers noted that if they actually had any to sell, it would not be for any less than $28. Slaughter for the week through Saturday, October 31st was 638,000, down just 1% from the previous week. Combined export sales were definitely lower at 544,100, but that was pretty much expected. Combined shipments, however, were much better this week, up by 23%, coming in at 643,500. Turning to South America, editor Ronald Guiel tells us that Brazil saw more price increases this week, and that's both for raw material and for TR1. The price of fresh hides jumped by 10 cents in reals to sell for 97 cents per kilo, and TR1 went up by a couple of cents in dollars to sell for 75 cents per square foot. In Argentina, sources say that prices there are rising fast as well, and that's driven by the suspension of the export tax on cured hides that we reported last week. In other news from Brazil, Minerva invested in a U.S. plant protein startup, and a number of industry entities issued their projections for footwear and the leather industry for the remainder of the year, so you'll want to check those out. From elsewhere in Latin America, Argentina's September footwear and leather goods production dropped by 36.7%. Chile saw footwear sales decline in Santiago, and Mexican footwear lost a big chunk of its market. And then there's also news about a couple of refrigerators in Paraguay and Uruguay. Turning to Europe, editor Andrea Guolo reports that a number of the major countries are looking at a very bad week as they start with new COVID-related restrictions. It's a complex situation, and it's not entirely clear how things are going to play out, but in the very short term, for supplier demand, which also means for hides and leather. We just don't know. English and Irish hides were stable this week, with the English 36 plus ox selling at a steady 90 cents in sterling and Ireland at 85 cents in euros. With regard to bulls, prices stabilized. Demand is still healthy because of the automotive sector. And in fact, demand was significant for southern German selections, which were quoted at €1.30 per kilo. With regard to the veal market, it's still seeing some challenges that don't seem likely to ease in the near future. In his analysis, Andrea breaks down what the tanneries are doing with a view to continuing work amid the restrictions, as well as what's going on with cows in light of China's ban on imports from Germany. With that, let's just say that it could be a week of change given Europe's evolving situation, as well as the election in the United States on Tuesday. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next Sunday. And until then, good night from HideNet.